Hey, what's up guys? So you know it's Best here. I have the iPhone 8 Plus here and I've been using it for a little while. And I'm gonna let you know whether or not you should buy this thing or not. And let's count the ways. But first off, it's gonna talk about the design, which a lot hasn't changed. A lot of it is still very similar. If you look at it from the front, it's gonna look very similar to the iPhone 7. But on the back, you're gonna notice that brand new glass design. And I do like the glass. It looks better, it feels better. But also too, I like the fact that it enables wireless charging now that you can use with these phones, which works with a lot of existing wireless mats that are already on the market, but also too, it's going to be working with new AirPower wireless mat that Apple's going to be releasing next year. But overall, I like the design. It's still a lot of the same, but the addition of the glass does make it feel different enough to make me want to miss my iPhone 7 Plus. And a couple other things that still are the same with this phone is that there's no headphone jack, and I say don't expect that anytime soon. And also the lightning port is back, which I really wish would have been switched over to USB-C, especially since the cables that come inside of the box with this new iPhone don't allow you to fast charge, which is another feature inside of these new iPhones, but you actually have to pay more money either buying a USB-C to lightning cable from Apple or a third-party manufacturer, and also getting another wall adapter that's compatible with this. So I really wish those things were in the box already, but I think it could be a lot easier if USB-C was just a standard port on this phone. Now, one thing that is new is the A11 Bionic processor that you've been hearing about. This thing screams. It is crazy fast, and when you do a benchmarking test like Geekbench, you're going to see that this thing is going to blow most of the competition out of the water. And this is going to be definitely useful when it comes to apps like AR apps that Apple's really pushing, like this IKEA app that I'm showing you that allows you to place furniture around the room. It's just really cool. The best way to show off AR in my opinion. But all this extra horsepower is really going to make for those type of things, gaming, and also future software updates, hopefully run very smooth on this phone. And that's even with the fact that this phone still only has 2 gigabytes of RAM, where the Galaxy Note 8 has 6 gigabytes. But while using this phone as far as real world performance, I never found myself wanting to get extra RAM. Like I didn't miss the extra RAM that's in the Galaxy Note. So that is a good thing. Apple definitely has fine-tuned the hardware and the software to work together. And speaking of software, let's go ahead and jump right into iOS 11 at this point. Now, iOS 11 is good. There's some couple good things and also some things that make you kind of scratch your head to why did they do this. Now, the good things about iOS 11 is the fact that it still remains the king as far as being an OS that really works together with other devices in the Apple ecosystem when it comes to iPads and iMacs and your Apple TV. And also after using Android primarily this year, moving back to iMessage is something that just really makes me wish that this was the default messaging app on every single phone that hit the market. Like it was just mandatory. Everything should come with iMessage. And then also listening to Siri, she's going to sound way more natural. I really do like how Siri sounds, and it's the best sounding voice assistant that you can get on a phone.
Impressively beautiful, elaborate, or extravagant, striking. Do you want to hear the remaining one?
Then the new Control Center update is very useful. I like having these sliders and toggles for things right there, just one swipe away. And then also too, the screen recording feature that is in iOS 11 is very useful, especially for creators like me. But a couple things kind of make me again scratch my head is that when you look at the toggles for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, you would think if you tap those off, that's going to help you save battery life by actually turning off the actual radios themselves. But that's not the case. When you tap those, that just disconnects you from whatever network or Bluetooth device that you're currently connected to. I really found that Apple kind of forgot about 3D Touch that they invented not too long ago. It would be great if you can just do a 3D Touch on the actual Wi-Fi symbol to be able to pull up all the networks that's available, or to just give you a little slider option to turn off Wi-Fi altogether, but they didn't do that. So you actually have to go into the settings to do that stuff. And then just trying to get into the Control Center itself, you always have to slide up from the bottom of the display, where I wish they would just allow you to be able to register that slide from like the middle of the display, especially on a big device like the iPhone 8 Plus. And so really it's just a few little things in iOS 11 that kind of just add up a little bit at times. Nothing major, but I find that I think iOS 11 still is the king at being very simple, easy to use, friendly to every single person. But I just find that they still kind of restrain themselves a little bit by trying to be too simple, which ultimately makes it complicated in the end. But if you want to find one thing about these new iPhones that nobody is going to say anything bad about, that's going to be the cameras. Now, the iPhone 8 has a 12 megapixel camera on the back, and the 8 Plus has 2 of those. And I would tell you that simply, I didn't think anything would be too much better than the Galaxy Note 8 this year. Maybe the Google Pixel 2 that's going to be coming out soon when it comes to the camera department. But this iPhone 8 is fantastic. It really has quality that makes you forget about that digital camera you may have sitting on your desk, which happens to me a lot now. I don't need to take that with me anymore. These phones produce really good picture quality and also video quality. And I like the fact, especially with the video, that you can now shoot 4K at 60 frames per second. And I have a dedicated video just in 4K 60 frames per second from this iPhone, and you can watch that at the end of this video. I'll leave the link down below or somewhere else. And then the slow-mo mode has been updated to allow you to do 1080p at 240 frames per second. And then I do like that portrait mode makes a return on the 8 Plus, but it's even better with the new portrait lighting beta that they're doing, which allows you to do different lighting effects that sometimes can hit and sometimes can be a miss. But for the most part, I like having that extra ability for the portrait mode. And also do note that all these photos and 4K video that you're taking with this phone aren't going to be taking up too much storage on your phone anymore, because Apple is now using the HEVC format, which is going to get you about 50% smaller file sizes compared to the previous format of just using the H.264. And so really the only bad thing I can say about the camera deals with the camera app itself, the software. It's way too limited. Like, you can't even change the camera settings inside of the camera app. If you want to change 4K from 30 frames to 60 frames per second, you got to leave the camera app, go into the settings app, find the camera section, change that, and then go back into the camera app and start shooting. And hopefully whatever you're trying to take video of hasn't taken off already. Then I also wish that Apple included a pro mode so you can control the white balance and exposure and maybe do manual focus. Things like that that are kind of standard in Android now. You can't do this on this phone. So I just really feel that Apple is kind of catering to the lowest common denominator, to people who may not actually be using the camera for all those things. Just point and shoot, hit that button, and that's fine. But at least have those options for creators and people who really want to take advantage of all the power with these cameras. Now let's get real about the display for a second. The display on this iPhone 8 Plus that I've been using for this review is only a 1080p display, and on paper that does not stack up well against the other top phones on the market. But I will say, just in real world performance, going from the Galaxy Note 8 to this iPhone 8 Plus, I wasn't like disappointed in the display. I was like, oh, I can't look at this. This is too blurry or too distorted. So Apple has made a couple changes. They increased the wide color gamut, so you're gonna get better color accuracy. And also too, they added their True Tone display feature, which allows the display to automatically adjust the white balance depending on the ambient light. Now ultimately, I found myself turning that off because it got just a little too yellow for my personal liking, but it may be different for you. And so just getting to the main question, should you buy this new iPhone 8 or 8 Plus? Well, if you're using anything like the iPhone 6 and below, for sure, you're gonna definitely like this feature upgrade. But if you're using the iPhone 7 or the 7 Plus, I actually can recommend this as an upgrade. In years past, when Apple has done like S upgrades to the iPhones, there wasn't a lot to kind of say, yes, for sure, upgrade. But I find that the performance enhancements, the camera improvement, and also the display does look better for an iPhone. I find that this is definitely something that you could want to upgrade if you have the iPhone 7 or the 7 Plus, and you don't want to spend the extra $300 to start at $1,000 for the iPhone 10. So it's definitely something to look at. And if you're using Android, well, you're using Android. You probably don't see a lot in this phone that make you want to switch. But if you were to switch, it's definitely probably the best time to switch to an iPhone. It's not completely customizable and open as Android, but they have been getting better over the years, and you may find that you may start to like it more and more. But ultimately, it's going to be your choice, and I do want to hear your choice whether or not you think this is a worthy upgrade, and just what are your overall thoughts about these new phones. Leave your comment down below, and be sure to follow me on all my social media networks and subscribe to me here on YouTube. You'll be notified when I upload new videos. And like always, I want to thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace. Hey Jibo, what do you think about the iPhone 8?
I don't have an answer for that. I do have thoughts and opinions about lots of things, but not that one.